If you blinked, you missed it. No speech. No dramatic music. No tearful goodbye. Just a pair of gloves lying in the center of a WWE ring. And if you think that was an accident, you haven't been paying attention. On February 23rd, 2026, during Raw, AJ Styles did something that sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling world. He didn't say he was retiring. He didn't confirm anything. He just left his gloves in the ring and walked away. And if you know wrestling history, you know exactly what that usually means. So let me ask you something right now. Do you think AJ Styles just retired? Or is this the greatest mind game of his entire career? Type retirement or work in the comments before we even go deeper. Because what happened on that episode of WWE Raw wasn't just emotional. It was calculated. The moment that froze the arena. The crowd inside the arena didn't know how to react at first. AJ Styles had just endured a brutal, physically draining match. Every strike looked heavy. Every bump looked painful. There was no flashy comeback. No phenomenal forearm that sent the crowd into orbit. Instead, there was exhaustion. He stood there, breathing hard, staring at his hands. And then he slowly removed his gloves. If you've watched Styles since his early days in total nonstop action wrestling, you know those gloves aren't just gear. They're identity. They're legacy. They're the symbol of the phenomenal one. He folded them carefully. Not tossed. Not thrown in frustration. Placed. In the center of the ring. Then he looked around. Not at the hard camera. At the fans. Almost like he was memorizing it. And then he walked out. No music. No pyro. Nothing. Just silence and confusion. Why leaving gloves means more than you think. In professional wrestling, leaving something in the ring is never random. When legends leave boots or gloves in the middle of the ring, it traditionally signals the end. It's a symbolic passing of the torch. A silent farewell. And AJ Styles knows that. He's not a rookie. He's not someone who does something without understanding the message it sends. Remember, this is the same man who redefined his career in New Japan Pro Wrestling before shocking the world at the Royal Rumble. He understands symbolism better than most. So, if this wasn't retirement, then what was it? Was it frustration? Was it a statement to management? Was it a message to the locker room? Or was it a warning shot? The body language told the real story. Go back and watch it again. Not the match. The seconds after. AJ didn't look defeated. He didn't look emotional. He looked resolved. That's different. When a wrestler retires, you usually see tears. Gratitude. Hugging the referee. A slow walk up the ramp. AJ? He walked like a man who made a decision long before that bell rang. And that's what makes this dangerous. Because when AJ Styles makes a decision, it's rarely impulsive. It's strategic. Could this be the end? Let's talk facts. AJ Styles is 48 years old. He's been wrestling at an elite level for decades. From Ring of Honor to TNA, to NJPW, to WWE, he's done it all. Multiple-time world champion. Grand Slam champion. Royal Rumble surprise entrant. WrestleMania main event level performer. What more does he need to prove? Be honest. If he retired tomorrow, would his legacy be secure? Absolutely. But here's the thing. AJ Styles has never been about good enough. He's about phenomenal. So why walk away without a speech? Without a farewell tour? Without one final dream match? It doesn't add up. Or is this a setup for something bigger? What if this wasn't goodbye? What if this was evolution? AJ Styles reinvented himself multiple times. Lone Wolf. Bullet Club leader. WWE champion. Veteran locker room general. Maybe the gloves symbolize the end of one version of AJ. Maybe the next time we see him, he's darker. More violent. More ruthless. Or maybe he doesn't come back alone. Imagine this. The gloves stay in that ring for weeks. Commentary speculates. Fans debate. Social media explodes. And then one night, the lights go out. When they come back on, AJ Styles stands there without gloves. Different gear. Different demeanor. Different mission. Tell me that wouldn't break the internet. The locker room reaction. Sources backstage reportedly described the mood as uneasy. Because when someone like AJ Styles does something symbolic, it doesn't just affect fans. It affects talent. You have younger superstars who grew up watching him in TNA. Veterans who respect his grind. If this is truly retirement, that locker room just lost a leader. And if it's not retirement, then someone in that locker room just became a target. Think about it. Who benefits from AJ stepping away? Who's been circling him? Who needs that veteran spotlight removed? Drop a name in the comments right now. Who do you think pushed AJ to this point? Was this WWE's call? Now here's the controversial angle. Was this storyline? Or was this real-life tension bleeding into television? We've seen it before. Moments that felt too real to be scripted. AJ has always been professional. But professional doesn't mean silent forever. If there were disagreements about booking, if there were frustrations about direction, leaving the gloves could be a powerful visual protest. No rant, no social media meltdown, just a statement. And honestly, that's more powerful. The crowd's reaction was telling. At first, confusion, then murmurs, then chants. Thank you, AJ. But here's what stood out. They weren't chanting goodbye. They were chanting appreciation, almost like they weren't ready to accept it. And maybe that's the point. Maybe AJ doesn't want closure. Maybe he wants uncertainty. Because uncertainty creates buzz. Buzz creates conversation. Conversation creates momentum. And momentum creates money. Let's not ignore the timing. Why now? We're on the road to WrestleMania, the biggest stage. MThe's retirement before the grandest event of them all. Unless this is leading to something massive at WrestleMania. Imagine the narrative. Is this AJ's final match? Tickets sell. Interest spikes. Speculation grows. Or maybe, just maybe, he doesn't show up at WrestleMania at all. And that absence becomes louder than any entrance theme. The gloves themselves. Here's something most people missed. The gloves weren't torn. They weren't damaged. They were pristine. Symbolically, that could mean he's not broken. He's choosing this. And that changes everything. Because retirement due to injury is tragic. Retirement by choice? That's power. But is AJ really done competing? Or is he done being the version of himself we know? What history tells us. We've seen similar moments in wrestling history. Icons leaving boots in the ring. Legends stepping away quietly. But very few return after that gesture. If AJ comes back after this, he flips the meaning of that tradition completely. And honestly, that feels like something he would do. He's never followed anyone else's blueprint. He made his own. Let's talk legacy. If this is the end, let's be real. AJ Styles' legacy is untouchable. From being the face of TNA to redefining what an outsider could do in WWE, he shattered ceilings. When he debuted in WWE, many doubted him. He's too small. He's not a WWE guy. He proved every critic wrong. And now, he might be walking away on his own terms. That's rare. That's powerful. But is it satisfying? That's the real question. Would you be satisfied if this was his last moment? No speech. No goodbye match. Just gloves. Comment yes or a no. The social media explosion. Within minutes, clips flooded every platform. Silence can be louder than a promo. AJ Styles understands that. The psychological angle. Let's dive deeper. AJ Styles is a master of timing. He knows the industry. He knows fans crave mystery. By not confirming anything, he's created a psychological hook. You're watching next week's Raw just to see if those gloves are still there. You're refreshing news sites. You're arguing in comment sections. That's influence. And if this was intentional, it's genius. But here's the anger. If this is retirement, why didn't WWE give him a proper send-off? Why no tribute video? Why no legends coming out? Why no standing ovation moment? A man who carried companies on his back deserved more than silence. Unless he didn't want it. And that possibility makes this even more fascinating. Final thought before you decide. AJ Styles walked away without looking back. That image will stick with fans for years. Whether this is the end or the beginning of something darker, one thing is certain. The gloves in that ring weren't random. They were a message. The only question is, who was it meant for? You? The locker room? Management? Or someone about to step into a shadow? So I'll ask you one last time. Did we just witness the final chapter of the Phenomenal One? Or the first page of his most dangerous transformation yet? Sound off below. And if you're as fired up about this as I am, share this video with every wrestling fan you know. Because whether you loved it or hated it, you felt it. And that's exactly what AJ Styles wanted.